It's interesting. Everything about him is interesting. And you can't talk about Jon Jones lately without talking about Pereira. And Aspinall. Can't go that far without having to answer questions about Pereira. They keep trying to ask him about Jones, but Jones has never called Aspinall out. Pereira called Aspinall out. Now, when people try to get Pereira and Jones together, Pereira has never called Jones out. Pereira called out Aspinall. Generally, this is the way it would work. When you have two guys that are trying to fight the same guy, okay? So you got two guys that you, the audience, in Pereira and Tom, and you're trying to get those two guys against Jon. Generally speaking, after a small period of time of going back and forth about who you'd rather see, you, the audience, gets those guys against each other, which is Pereira versus Aspinall. And it's not our idea. It was Pereira's idea, and then it was supported by Aspinall. And I mean, don't think for one moment that Aspinall would blink if he found out he was fighting Pereira. The difference is he thinks he's got business with Jones. And the difference is Tom Aspinall is so close to having climbed that mountain, but he's not there. He doesn't have what Pereira's got, which is the world undisputed title. He doesn't have what Jon Jones has, which is the world undisputed title. Don't think for a second that Tom Aspinall is afraid to fight Alex Pereira and then go into Jon Jones, or go into Jon Jones and then go into Alex Pereira. And I'm only sharing with you, it's surprising to me that conversation hasn't started, which is Pereira Aspinall. Now, let's talk about Jones. Jones had made a comment on Aspinall, and he made a comment to the public. He said, you guys have finally found somebody younger and bigger. But where were they 10 years ago? When I was here and I was fighting, I was going through guys. Where were they? Why am I having to answer questions if I'm the greatest ever, I have the greatest career ever? How is it even a question? It's a fair assessment by Jon. I just want you to imagine.
Fight fans, welcome back to Luxurytainment. The fighting world is buzzing with excitement after Jon Jones expressed interest in facing Alex Pereira for the heavyweight championship following his fight against Stipe Miocic at UFC 309. A potential showdown between the GOAT Jon Jones and the dangerous knockout artist Alex Pereira has fans debating who would reign supreme in this epic clash. So today, we'll take a closer look at this potential matchup, and then you, the Luxtainers, can decide who wins as we break down Jon Jones' incredible legacy and his unmatched skill set, and Alex Pereira's rise through the ranks, his lethal striking power, and his ability to finish fights in style, and breaking down their records, strengths, and potential weaknesses. Jon Jones has lost only one match, and that was due to a disqualification for using the then banned elbow strike on Matt Hamill. This remains his only official defeat, though the MMA community has often argued that Jones should not have been declared the winner in his fight against Dominic Reyes. It is also worth noting that the American star has faced multiple accusations of using performance-enhancing drugs, leading to his first fight against Daniel Cormier being overturned to a no contest for that reason. Throughout his career, Jon Jones has secured victories over legendary fighters such as Mauricio Rua, Lyoto Machida, Vitor Belfort, Daniel Cormier, Dominic Reyes, Cyril Gane, and many more. If we were to look at Alex Pereira, then his MMA career might be short, but it's a sweet one, as it comprises of legendary fights. The fighter has lost only once under the promotion's banner, and that too against his arch-rival, Israel Adesanya, at UFC 287. Alex Pereira changed divisions after his loss against Adesanya, and he has been unstoppable ever since. This year alone, Pereira has defeated Jamahal Hill, Jiri Prochazka, and Khalil Rountree back-to-back in 175 days, breaking Ronda Rousey's consecutive title defense record. Both fighters have been dominant against their opponents, but it's quite difficult to tell who can clinch the victory just by looking at their basic stats. So let's us dive deeper. Alex Pereira has an astonishing record of 22 knockouts in professional kickboxing and 8 knockouts in their professional MMA career, totaling 30 knockouts across both sports. It must be noted that Pereira has been on a knockout spree as he has defeated his last 4 opponents by way of knockout. As of today, Alex Pereira has won 83% of his fights by the way of knockouts. On the other hand, Jon Jones, despite his amazing records against legendary fighters, is not primarily known for a high knockout rate. As of today, the fighter has won 37% of his fights by the way of knockouts. He has secured only 10 knockouts in his MMA career out of 27 wins, with the majority coming from his skillful use of strikes combined with submissions and decision victories. It must be noted that despite having low knockout rates, Jones has been an amazing fighter due to his high fight IQ and his technical skills. But wait, Pereira has something that Jones lacks. Let's have a look at it. Back in 2018, Francis Ngannou set a world record for the hardest punches in all of MMA. They used a machine that was specifically designed to measure the power of the punches. And as per the video, Ngannou packed 129,161 units in a single punch. It was such a force that prominent faces in the MMA world compared the punching power to being hit with a sledgehammer in full force. Francis Ngannou held the record for a solid 4 years until Alex Pereira tested his strength on the same machine. Now you might be wondering, how much did Alex Pereira score? Well, to everyone's surprise, the current light heavyweight champion clocked in a massive 191,796 units, breaking the record. For a fighter who started at middleweight and is now the light heavyweight champion, that is one hell of a punch. This punching power could pose immense difficulty for Jon Jones if they ever faced each other. Jon Jones could face some challenges against Alex Pereira if Poatan lands that right strike.
Tom Aspinall is afraid to fight Alex Pereira and then go into Jon Jones, or go into Jon Jones and then go into Alex Pereira. And I'm only sharing with you, it's surprising to me that that conversation hasn't started, which is Pereira Aspinall. Now, let's talk about Jones. Jones had made a comment on Aspinall, and he made a comment to the public. He said, you guys have finally found somebody younger and bigger. But where were they 10 years ago? When I was here and I was fighting, I was going through guys. Where were they? Why am I having to answer questions if I'm the greatest ever, I have the greatest career ever? How is it even a question? It's a fair assessment by John, but I just want you to imagine it from this perspective. Most fighters, if given the preference, would choose that. The very thing that John just pointed out. A much younger guy, a much bigger guy. They would choose that. Because now, if things don't go their way and you've only got one of two outcomes, you win the match, you don't lose you don't win the match. That's the only two outcomes. There's not a third one. You get your hand raised, you don't get your hand raised. So in the event that you don't get your hand raised, most fighters would choose to have the younger, bigger guy so that story is already told. If Jon was put in that position and he chose Pereira, he's now choosing the same guy. And there is a time where we will talk about Jon the way that we talk about Dan Henderson and Randy Couture, about these guys that could go later in life, push that 40 number. It could be over any day. They still look great. I can't say they're in their prime, but I can't say they're out of their prime. Like there's a day very soon when we do that about Jon. But if Jon fights Pereira, they weigh the same. In fact, they are the same. Jon was the greatest light heavyweight of all time. Now it looks like Pereira might be the greatest light heavyweight of all time. That in and of itself makes it compelling. Jon's a big guy that cut to light heavyweight, so he decided to stop cutting, and now he's at heavyweight. He's not overly large for the size. Well, that would be the exact same thing with Pereira. Oh, by the way, they're both 37. Like, if Jon was put in a position to choose, I'm telling you, what most guys would choose is they would not want their equal. They would not go on a guy where they don't have a built-in excuse. You want to talk about losing? Lose to a guy from a different generation. You can't lose to a guy your same generation, your same age. It brings everything into question. I understand that Mike Tyson made it through that. I do understand that. But when Mike Tyson fought Evander Holyfield, Evander's 2 years older. Evander was there the entire time Mike was there. And Evander said he's not the best in the world. He's never been the best in the world. He tried to make the Olympic team. He failed. I made the Olympic team. I even brought home a medal for the country. Every day that Mike's been here, I've been here, and I can beat him. He's not the world champion. He's never been the best in the world. And had he fought me like he should have, he never would have been known as world champion. And then Evander proved that was true. And I get that Mike made it through that. Even in those defeats, Mike went on to be a bigger icon. I understand that, but I'm sharing for you, it can be a problem. Khabib had beaten everybody that he was asked to beat. But there was one guy that looked pretty damn good and was there at the same time, and Khabib never met him. His name was Charles Oliveira. And that conversation was out there. They had two common opponents, Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. And Charles finished the pair in a combined 65 seconds faster than Khabib finished the pair. And that conversation was started.
Let's now look at the strengths of each fighter. Jon Jones, known for his elite fight IQ, versatile striking, exceptional wrestling, and ability to adapt mid-fight. His reach and unorthodox style give him a significant edge in controlling distance and neutralizing opponents' strengths. Alex Pereira, a striking phenomenon with unparalleled knockout power. Pereira's kickboxing background makes him a constant threat on the feet. His precision and composure under pressure have earned him devastating wins over top opponents. Now let's look at the